Right, but what I asked you about was the Straits of Hormuz. The Straits of Hormuz are still closed to most traffic right now. Can it be reopened without American ground troops?
Well, I think certainly you're seeing that.
In this video, we're going to watch ABC's George Stephanopoulos press and completely corner MAGA Congressman Mike Turner regarding Iran and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. It is lovely to watch how he folds like a cheap deck chair at a British seaside resort. Right, so let me set the stage here because this matters. The Strait of Hormuz, 20% of the world's oil passes through that choke point. 20%. And right now, it is closed. Trump issued an ultimatum on Truth Social of all places, threatening to bomb Iranian infrastructure if they don't reopen it. We've already seen airstrikes. Oil prices are spiking toward $200 a barrel. This is not some abstract foreign policy debate. This is your petrol prices and the global economy hanging by a thread. Now enter Mike Turner, staunch Trump loyalist, sitting across from George Stephanopoulos, who absolutely does not let politicians waffle their way through interviews. What unfolds is genuinely satisfying television. If you want to see accountability journalism in action, make sure you subscribe and let's get into this.
Congressman Mike Turner of Ohio, a member of the Armed Services Committee. Congressman, thank you for joining us this morning. President Trump is calling the rescue of the airmen an Easter miracle. This morning, we're all grateful that they are safe. More broadly, is the United States winning this war?
Well, George, first off, thank you for having me, and happy Easter. And it is good that we're remembering our service members around the world. What's important here is that the inevitability of this conflict, as we look from the beginning, which was the issue, of course, Iran pursuing its nuclear ambitions, and from the beginning of the president saying that we're going to truncate those. We had Obama step in and say with his nuclear enrichment deal, we're just going to step back and watch as Iran continues to get closer and closer to a nuclear weapon. This president saying, no, we're going to take military action to stop them from doing so. Now with this intervention, the president saying we're going to intervene to stop their ability to have a military in which they can project force against the United States and our allies. In that, you're seeing Iran's ability to be able to project force, their ability to be the state sponsor of terrorism, their ability to hurt our allies in the United States to be diminished, and there's certainly their ability to continue to pursue what they were on the verge of being able to become a nuclear power stopped. That is incredibly important.
It is important. At the same time, what we're seeing with the Straits of Hormuz closed, American gas prices going up, oil spiking around the world. The president suggested that the Straits of Hormuz could open naturally. Is that realistic, or is it going to take ground troops?
Well, George, in any conflict, certainly, Iran is going to have some things that they're going to be able to do during the conflict. But if you don't undertake the conflict, if you just step back and watch, as the Obama administration was going to do while Iran became a nuclear power and they became North Korea, we wouldn't be looking at the Strait of Hormuz. We'd be looking at what's having Europe be at risk. You'd have the United States being at risk. You'd have all of our allies, and ultimately the continental United States at risk from Iran, and the whole world being held hostage by a terrorist state. In this, as they in their last throes, begin to do whatever they have left as a state militarily, they still are being significantly diminished, and their ability to be able to be marching toward a nuclear state is being eliminated.
Oh, here we go. Happy Easter, everyone. And by the way, we're bombing another country. The cognitive dissonance is genuinely breathtaking. Right, so Turner opens with this framing about Obama's nuclear deal. And I need to stop him right there, because the JCPOA was working. International inspectors confirmed Iran was complying. Trump pulled out of that deal in 2018. And since then, Iran has accelerated its enrichment program. So when Turner talks about Obama just stepping back and watching, mate, that is revisionist nonsense. The diplomatic framework existed, and your guy tore it up. And did you catch how he pivots? Stephanopoulos asks a direct question about ground troops, and Turner immediately swerves into this apocalyptic scenario about Iran becoming North Korea and holding Europe hostage. That's not an answer. That's fear-mongering dressed up as strategic thinking. Here's what kills me. Turner sits on the Armed Services Committee. He knows exactly what ground operations would cost in lives and treasure. He knows the Pentagon assessments, and he won't say it out loud, because the moment he admits American boots might be required, this whole quick, clean intervention narrative falls apart. The Strait of Hormuz will open naturally. According to whom? Iran is literally charging ships $2 million to pass through. They've implemented what's being called the Tehran toll booth. That doesn't sound like a situation that resolves itself, George. Turner is doing what Marger politicians always do. Talk tough, project strength, and then dodge every single question about actual consequences.
Right, but what I asked you about was the Straits of Hormuz. The Straits of Hormuz are still closed to most traffic right now. Can it be reopened without American ground troops?
Well, I think certainly you're seeing that even as this conflict evolves, that is being put in place, and I don't think U.S. ground troops are going to be necessary in any direct conflict. In this instance, we're seeing that the conflict is continuing with the president beginning to, in conjunction with Israel, significantly diminish Iran's military capabilities, both their navy, their missile capabilities overall are continuing, and certainly their nuclear capabilities are being continually diminished. And that was the goal, and that is an incredibly important goal for the safety of the United States.
So I guess, are you saying that as long as the nuclear capability is diminished, it doesn't matter whether we open up the Straits of Hormuz?
No, the Straits of Hormuz, the Straits are going to be open, and it certainly is important to occur. But you can't say, well, as long as the Straits are open, we can let them continue to be a power that marches toward being a nuclear power, that continues to develop missile technology that can threaten the United States and threaten Europe, and continue to perfect long-range missile technology. You have to be able to address this, great sponsor of terrorism, this the global power ambition that Iran has. And as you do so, you know that the conflict will have them both attack our allies, attack the United States, attack Israel, and of course attack the Straits. But this will be a diminishing regime as they're doing so.
Will it take ground troops or not to open up the Straits?
I don't believe so. I think that certainly that this is going to be, again, a diminishing regime as it is ongoing.
Congressman, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you.
And there it is. That's the whole interview in a nutshell right there. I don't believe so. 3 words doing an extraordinary amount of heavy lifting when we're talking about potentially the most significant military escalation since Iraq. Look, I want to be clear about something. Stephanopoulos asked Turner the same question 3 times. Will it take ground troops to open up the Straits? And 3 times Turner slithered around it with this bizarre confidence that everything will just work itself out because Iran is a diminishing regime. That's not strategy. That's wishful thinking masquerading as foreign policy. And notice what he's not talking about. He's not mentioning the 25+ people reportedly killed in those coordinated strikes. He's not addressing the retaliatory missiles Iran fired at Israel and Gulf Arab nations. He's certainly not discussing oil prices potentially hitting $200 a barrel if this keeps escalating. Because the moment you start putting human faces and economic numbers on this conflict, the whole chest-thumping bravado starts looking pretty hollow. Turner keeps repeating this mantra about diminishing Iran's capabilities, as if bombing infrastructure somehow creates lasting peace. We tried that approach in Iraq. We tried it in Libya. How'd that work out? The lesson of 21st century foreign policy is that you cannot bomb your way to regional stability. And yet here we are watching a sitting congressman on the Armed Services Committee pretending otherwise. What really gets me is this. Turner is essentially asking Americans to trust that ground troops won't be needed based on nothing but his optimism. No intelligence assessment cited. No military expert opinion referenced. Just vibes. Just I think and I believe, while the Strait of Hormuz remains functionally closed and global markets are in chaos. This is what political accountability looks like when it's completely absent. A congressman can go on national television, advocate for military action that affects the entire global economy, and when pressed on specifics, just shrug it off. And that's precisely why journalism like this matters. Stephanopoulos didn't let Turner get away with empty reassurances. He kept pushing. He kept circling back to the actual question. That's what holding power accountable looks like, and we need more of it desperately. So here's my challenge to you. The next time you hear a politician talk about military intervention, watch how they answer direct questions about costs and consequences. Watch for the pivots and the fear-mongering, and the vague optimism that never quite becomes a concrete answer. That tells you everything you need to know about whether they're being straight with you. If you found this helpful, smash that subscribe button, because we're going to keep doing this. Actually, speaking of which, I did another video recently breaking down how a British journalist absolutely torched this entire Iran approach and the strategic blunder at its core. Worth a watch if you want more context on just how badly this is being handled. Link should be popping up now. Stay informed, stay engaged. I'll see you in the next one.